What's good? My name is Jeff.
And I'm Will.
Welcome to BrewBros. Alright, we're back. So essentially today's a very dope day just because we are going to be trying a Nitro beer. It is a lot different comparable to a carbonated beer, which is essentially every other beer that is literally out there, just because of the different type of chemicals that are placed inside of the beer instead of your normal traditional beer. And today we will be trying the Flamingo Dream Nitro. A lot of things that a lot of people don't know is that essentially normally when they open this type of beer, they automatically just pour it into the beer can or into a glass. However, the steps that you do need to take in order to drink this properly is that once you grab the beer and it's nice and cold, you flip it 1, turn it 2, turn it 3, and it's ready to go. And instead of pouring this in a regular fashion that you just pour it just like that, this one will be going straight down. So once you hear that pop, pop it open, and you pour it straight down. As you can see, this is not your traditional type of beer. It is not going to overflow, and Will is going to focus it in.
Take a look at that. Look at the way that comes back up.
There we go.
It truly is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
Well, so how about we take a second and actually talk about like the real difference in what a nitro beer is going to be versus a regular CO2 beer.
Yeah, so a nitro beer, as you guys can see, it is still very foamy at the top. It has like a very thick layer of cream, and you can essentially consider it like a creamy texture. That is the difference between a nitro and a carbonated beer. Carbonated beer, once you pour it in, you have to pour it at a slight angle in order for the oxygen to actually come into the beer, and then so that way all the flavors actually develop within the beer. However, with this one, it goes straight down, and the nitrogen comes slowly back up, leaving a thick foam at the very top, as you can see right there. Yeah. I don't know if this is a good angle, but so essentially, it leaves that creamy foam right there.
And that's what's pretty interesting on these beers, is because nitrogen actually makes up 70% of our atmosphere.
Definitely does.
One wouldn't think that it would necessarily be great in beer, but what I found in my experience with nitrogen beers is that it does, just like what you said, it leaves that creamier flavor as well as just the creamier texture and look. Yeah. As opposed to like CO2 beers. And unfortunately, we can't quite see it too closely. Whereas most CO2 have the bubbling from the bottom, that technique you use to actually pour it keeps, I think, the nitrogen pretty dissolved in the beer, so it gives it that real full-bodied flavor.
Exactly, and essentially what this does, it doesn't leave you as full as a normal like carbonated beer would. So essentially, if you were to pour a regular beer the same way that you would pour a nitrogen beer, it would literally be 20% beer and 80% foam, and that's definitely what you do not want. You want to have at least an inch worth of just foam, and then the rest of it to be all beer, right? Because essentially you're trying to drink the beer, not the foam. Yeah. Right? So with this, as you can tell, just from initial viewing of it, it is a pink beer. That is something that most people would try to stay away from it just because of the color itself. And that's completely understandable. This is not something that you would drink on a normal basis. However, this is something that was actually recommended from one of our viewers, and definitely wanted to give this a try just to kind of see what it was all about, right? Yeah. I personally have tried a lot of nitrogen beer, and from all my experiences, they've been very creamy, very smooth to drink, and honestly, it's been a great experience. Yeah.
And so with, I love the look of this glass, and I think we should use the power of editing to pour me one as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. With 3, 2, 1. All right, so we're back. So,
Whoa, how'd you do that?
like I said, with a little bit of effect, anything's possible, right? I could even make myself catch on fire, but we're not gonna do that on this video, right?
I would say it would make for a great video to see you catch on fire, though.
Oh yeah, definitely like this. Right? Awesome. I mean, hey, don't get too close. You might get a little burn.
Oh, yeah. The first thing I can say is it is very pink, but like picking it up now, it's a lot colder than the last beers that we drank.
It definitely is.
For it to be pretty cold.
So it is very important for it to be very cold when you drink this type of beer, just because if you pour it when it's not cold, essentially what ends up happening is it ends up coming out just like a regular carbonated beer, and you don't get that creamy effect when it starts going all the way down and then it slowly starts rising back up. And that is the effect that you want to have, not just for presentation, but also you want to have the flavors develop as they're going up, right? So the first initial taste that you do end up having is like the full experience of that specific beer. The reason why you want to turn it upside down 3 times is that's basically the technique that I've been shown before in order to pour a nitrogen beer. But I'm assuming that the reason why to do that is because you want to make sure that the nitrogen is incorporated within the beer, and that way you get the full taste of what a nitrogen beer is supposed to taste like.
And ultimately, looking at it, on the can here, it says that it is a berry blonde ale. To me, initially looking at it, I would think it was a sour, but I mean, with the aspects of the blonde ale, it says that the ingredients are Rocky Mountain water, malted barley hops, raspberries, black currants,
Yes.
and yeast. I'm not quite sure what black currants are. I think of blackberries, but
I mean, I would assume that too, but to be quite honest, I'm not really sure. I'm not trying to say anything that's outside of what we know.
But I'm excited to see kind of what this tastes like, because my initial impressions, I feel like it's going to taste like a sour, but they present it as a blonde ale. So,
do you think it's going to taste like a sour just because of the color it is?
Absolutely. I think because sours and those berry flavored beers, they're very, very heavy on the fruits.
I personally feel like this is actually going to be a very sweet beer, just by the way it looks. And like I said, it might not be your traditional type of beer to drink. However, it is something to at least try, just to make sure that you get a variety of different type of beers. Because at the end of the day, you never really know what you're gonna like. For me, just how I mentioned before, I'm not a very good IPA drinker. However, I'm willing to try it just for that experience, right? Just to make sure that I'm able to actually enjoy or get to see what else is out there.
Talking more about the temperature itself, it is interesting you bring that up, because as far as gas's ability to actually dissolve in water, which is most of beer, it actually, a colder beer is going to retain more of that gas. So I think on the nitrogen, because it's not as harsh as like our carbon dioxide, like the typical beers are going to be, we're going to try and retain as much of that as possible. So it would make sense that we want to keep it colder, but I think, it's about time for enough talking about it.
Okay, so
give it a try.
Before we give it a try, let's kind of get those initial aromas. Let's see exactly what we take. So actually, I really don't smell anything very strong. I'm not really sure if that's the nitrogen taking over, or I don't know if you smell anything different.
I mean, I've definitely got those fruity aromas, like the black currants that they talked about. It just smells like blackberries.
Okay.
And I gotta say, it does smell very, very sweet, very good.
Okay.
Honestly, almost like a dessert.
Oh no, yeah,
it's fantastic.
So now that I gave it a second smell, it definitely does smell like a dessert type of beer. I'm not sure if this will pair very well with the dessert, because you're taking a sweet with a sweet. But however, let's give this a try. Let's see what we think.
Sounds good. Cheers.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and retain it. Let's.
Okay. So that was a fantastic beer. To be quite honest, like, it gives, you have a very sweet taste from the initial drink. However, because like I mentioned before, it's not using carbon dioxide, instead it's using nitrogen, it goes down to the most smoothest taste I've ever had. And from other nitrogen beers, I feel like this is something that is very pleasant to drink. just like I mentioned before, I don't think this will probably be the best to drink with another sweet dessert. I feel like this is more of just like you just drink it on its own, just like before, like if it's a very hot summer day.
And I gotta say, with this one, the flavors are very, very powerful. I think that the nitrogen and everything, because unlike the carbonation that you see in regular beers, like that carbonation kind of does take over a lot of flavors, so you have to make up for that. The nitrogen really puts the sweetness and the aromas and everything forward a lot more. And so that creaminess of the nitrogen, as well as just the sweetness of all that fruit that you can taste, I would say, this is definitely good enough to drink on its own. So like you said, it was a lot of fruit, a lot of raspberry, everything going forward. So ultimately, how would you rate this beer?
For me, I really like this Nitro beer. Like I said, I really do feel like the raspberry is really taking over, and it gives it that like full fruity flavor. So for me, I would give this around a 9. It's a very delicious beer on my palate. I mean, you guys might think something else. Like I mentioned before, if you guys like want to try this or have tried this and you guys want to give your opinion, please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be more than happy to, reply to anybody who ends up giving out any type of comments like that. We can kind of discuss on what you guys view. But for me, like I mentioned before, I do personally feel like it is a 9 for me.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I would. I gotta say, it's good. At the end of the day, it's hard to describe exactly how I feel about it, but it's good. I wouldn't necessarily categorize it as like a easy drinking, you can do one after the other, but if you're looking for like a first start to your day or something that you can drink on its own, I think this is the way to go. And I would give it a 9 out of 10 as well. Like the same. Just because I love the fruitiness of it, I love the flavor, I love the nitrogen, it makes it so unique, and it is a great beer. Yeah, it is, like we mentioned before, it is something different, something that we haven't really tried. This was something that was actually asked of us to like show on our channel, and definitely we gotta say, hey, like this was something well worth trying. And to be quite honest, like we both agreed, it's a 9 out of 10. That's on our palate. If you guys have anything else that you guys might want to let us know, or you guys want us to try out next, we'll definitely try it out. But yeah, as of right now, the Flamingo the Flamingo Dream Nitro, 9 out of 10 for us. Yep. And again, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.